Welcome everybody. Live, Biz D with C, Biz Dev, live with Cameron Toth. I have Zachary Dingee with us today. He is the regional partner for Connecticut. I'm going to pull up his bio right now. I'm going to get our little Toth event staffing logo going, and bear with me. Best laid plans here. Hold on one second. I'll pull it up, and there we go. All right. I was captivated by this young man the other day. Has a great story. Sells solar, bought into Master Networks as a regional partner for Connecticut. 21-year-old guy who loves to challenge himself in any way, shape, or form. He dropped out of college 2 months in and started door-to-door sales immediately. Sales has taught him more about life than any college degree ever could have. After selling solar door-to-door for a year or so, he ended up also becoming part of Master Networks and running the Connecticut region. He has learned a lot in a few years of business, and still a lot to come. But I think there's a lot of inspiration to take from this young man. Zachary, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thanks for doing this with me.
Thanks, Kim, man. I'm glad to be here. It's my first kind of interview where I'm not the one interviewing and I'm the one being interviewed. So I'm excited.
That's awesome. And this is a great platform. I jumped on with Chaz.
Nice.
It's been a whirlwind, like less than 2 weeks ago, I think. And, introduced to this platform. I did live a few times right from Facebook, but there's a little bit slicker with the branding there. So StreamYard.com is pretty cool. So I want to get right into it. Talk to us about your story. I want to get some hopefully some interaction and questions from folks about your story. So let's talk to people and so talk to us about high school. You're 21 years old, so you're not that far removed from high school. I know you have an interesting story with college. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, so I just graduated 2017, so it really hasn't been long at all. Feels like it's been forever for me, but just a couple years ago. And, to go back to who I was in high school, I played football, I played basketball, I was an athlete. I guess you could say I was popular. I was in with the crowd. But, I partied a lot. I didn't do much work, but I always had things on the side. So I was always a kind of entrepreneur where I had a detailing business at 16, 17 years old where I would detail cars because my dad was a car salesman for Hudson Cadillac. So he had a lot of customers and I would kind of work with him. Hey, send them over to me. I'll detail their cars, a couple years down the road. So I started taking advantage of that. And then after that, in high school, I had a drop shipping website. I'm sure you've heard of drop shipping before.
I have, but it's one of those things that I want you to talk a little bit about it because it's one of those things I think a lot of people hear about, but they don't do. And you did it. You took action. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I did it for a little bit back when I was like 18, 19 years old. I took a social media marketing agency course that was like maybe $800, $900. And it taught me a lot about social media, about SEOs and how to advertise on there and the ads and the whole 9 yards. So what I did at first was a razor company. So like a straight razor that barbers use to shave your face. I did like customized ones. And the way it worked is you would have your website. It was called Razor Supply. And when they would click and order that razor, it would automatically go and order that razor from the third party supplier, like the wholesaler account. That would be sent directly to them, and I would just get the little piece of profit. So all I did was have a website face and then a click and order button, and they did the rest. The other company, the shipping, handling, the whole 9 yards, shipped it to the person or took care of everything. So it was pretty cool. Now, the razor company, I never sold a single thing on the website. Not one product. Not one. So I said, okay, obviously this isn't the way to go. And then I tried motorcycle.
Why didn't you sell anything on there? What do you think happened?
I think the razors is just such a niche market. Like the only people who are buying straight razors are barbers, and barbers usually have an already connection through somebody, through someone local, or they get it delivered some way, shape, or form. So maybe if it was like real trimmers or some kind of difference where most people use them, most people don't have straight razors at their house that they're actually shaving their face with. It's tricky. If you don't know what you're doing, you cut your face right open. It's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting thing because I almost feel like you can almost sell anything now with the internet as long as you got a price point that's somewhat competitive and you're able to reach enough people. So it's an interesting thing. There's a lot to talk and unpack there. So keep going with your story. Sorry to interrupt.
You're good. No, so I mean, listen, it might have been my fault. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't market it well enough. But then I tried a second thing, which was motorcycle gear. So I was selling helmets and pads and stuff like that. And I made like $2,000 in a month, and I thought I was the richest human on the planet because I was like,
that's awesome. Yeah.
But once that happened, I was like, okay, you know,
how old were you when you did that?
17 years old. I was in high school.
I don't think there's too many 17-year-olds percentage-wise that are knocking that down in a month.
Yeah. So again, I just, like I was saying, I just had that kind of thing. The DNA is just blended, as I'm sure you know, gentlemen. Gary V talks about it all the time.
Yeah.
There's some things you could teach, and there's some things that just come with you when you're born, man. It's just the DNA. I couldn't help it. Ever since I was little, I loved to take on new things and try to figure out, okay, how can this work better? How can I do this? How can I make money? I was always trying to make $1. So anyway, after that, if I wasn't doing that, I was partying in high school, partying or playing sports. So I was not the typical like nerd. I wasn't smart. I didn't get good grades really. Ended up going to college at Dutchess Community College, which is a small community one near me. And I was there for about a month and a half, first semester. And I was like, listen, Dad, I'm going to go crazy in here. I'm like, one, I'm going to this really small college that was just, there was no enthusiasm in anybody's voice. Everyone was just like so monotone. You walked in the hallways, everyone had headphones on. They didn't want to speak to anyone. So it was like even worse than a normal college. Like maybe
it wasn't your scene for sure. Yeah, understood.
Exactly. So it made it that much worse. So anyway, I went to my dad. I said, listen, I want to make a deal with you. I'll sign a contract with you. This is my dad. I'll sign a contract with you that if I'm not on track to make $100,000 by next year or have some form of business that I'm running on my own, like some type of success that's coming my way, I'll go back to college and get a 4-year degree, whatever you want, and I'll pay for the school. Because he wasn't going to pay for my school anyway. He was, if I wanted to go and get a 4-year degree, I had to pay for it, take out loans.
That's a fantastic story that you had that conversation. That's crazy. Is your mom in the picture too?
Yeah, yes. My dad's just more the business type. So that's why I to him, because he kind of understands it. My mom just listen. As long as I'm doing okay and I'm healthy and I'm eating good, she's Italian. So as long as I'm eating good food, she's happy with me. But yeah. So he said, okay, fair enough. I'll sign the contract. And that was, I actually have it in my room. I wish I would have grabbed it before I started, but
you're good. You got the idea.
I think it was March. That was March of 2018. And I had to be on track to get everything by March of 2019. I got my solar job, selling door-to-door solar, in March of 2019. The month before the contract was up, I got the job. And that's when I started selling solar.
So is that the first? I know you told me part of the story. So I know there was a first attempt at solar that didn't work out so well. So was that the one that didn't work out so well? Or was that the one that was like the boom, 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 you started making money?
Yeah. So I'll take it back a little bit. Because I guess I skipped over probably the important part. So after I signed that contract, I dropped out of college and I started doing door-to-door sales, which was like community solar, which is there's a big solar field out in, a couple miles down your house. And there's, 5,000 solar panels in a football field. And you can subscribe to those solar fields. I was making $250 a sale, and I wasn't being taught anything. I was 18 and didn't know how to sell, didn't know anything. And the guy basically said, here's your job. Good luck. You're full commission. Never did a sale, never learned a thing, couldn't do anything. Actually, I shouldn't say I never made a sale. I signed my dad up. That was it, though.
Good old dad coming through for you.
Yep, exactly. He was my only one. I made $250.
You're in network marketing paying off. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So then after that, I knocked on the guy's door and he was telling me how cheap he got his electricity. And I was like, okay, you got to show me how, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, went in. It was a multi-level marketing company called ACN. And I had then started that. And through that, we go to what are called PBRs, which are home meetings, essentially, where you try to get people to sign up in the company. Again, I'm still making no money, maybe $500 a week trying to do all this stuff. It was not good at all. Ended up moving to going to PBRs and starting to run home meetings with ACN, and got introduced to a guy who was actually selling real solar panels, residential on houses, making good money. So he pulls out his sheet and he was showing me the customers he had, and it was on the end, all the way on the right, he had in his last box was the commission on each homeowner. And I'm like, he's showing me, he's like, blah, blah, blah. I said, dude, is that your commission number right there? I've never seen anything like that on the solar sale. I'm like, I make $250. He's like, no, yeah, it's a really good company, you know, blah, 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 blah. He explains it a little bit to me. And I go, can I get an interview? Like, can I interview with this guy tomorrow? Anyway, long story short, I interview with the CEO, or not CEO, the sales director. And I don't think I told you this story, but this might be the best part. I interview with the sales director, and he gets on the phone with me, and immediately, so this guy's been selling door-to-door frozen goods for 30 years. He sold door-to-door frozen goods with the Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort. You know who that is?
Yeah.
He grew up selling door-to-door frozen goods in Albany with Jordan Belfort when he was 18, 19, 20 years old. Wow. So guy's been selling door-to-door since he was 19. He's now 58. So he knows the game very well. Anyway, he gets in the phone call with me on the Zoom. First thing he says, and I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on here, so I won't, but he starts going off about a 20-year-old can't do anything in this business. He's terrible. You're never going to do a thing. I'm not helping you out. You're going to come in and waste my time. I don't know why I'm even on this call with you. And I'm being nice about it. It was worse than that. And so I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared because I was not expecting that. And so I'm like, all right, well, do I have the job? Like, I think you're interested. You're just not happy that I'm 20. He said, go ahead, give it a try. He said, I'm not helping you. There's no training to be done. The guy that signed you up or the guy that, showed you the business will work with you. He'll be your mentor, but that's it. 3 months later, I was the #1 salesman on the team. I had the most sales in the entire company. And since then it's history.
So I'm hearing a couple things in that story. One, you stuck with it. You didn't give up. You went from one solar to another. You were networking. You're hitting the pavement, and that's really crazy that it ended up working out. Because I could imagine some scenarios where you just kind of, oh man, I don't know what to do, and then you bump into the right kind of person that's doing stuff. Exactly. By the way, for anybody that's watching, if you get sort of sucked into a MLM kind of scheme thing, think twice. It's a difficult racket. It's built for the folks on top, not for the folks on the bottom. Anyways, so you get in, folks, and that's with this company that we were talking about, Plug PV, right?
Plug PV is a solar company, yes.
All right, so that I'll just throw that up there. So that's the company you currently work for and sell solar with, right?
Yep, local company in Albany. We're a small, privately owned company, so we're not a big national brand. It's a lot. I've worked for the big national brand.
Tell us, I mean, that's an amazing story that you became the top salesman. What do you owe to your success? What was the key to how you did that?
I had a lot of chips on my shoulder from just things that were going on in my life, and also my own boss telling me you'll never do a thing in this business, and basically telling me that 20-year-olds don't do a thing.
I wonder if there was some strategy behind that.
Yeah, exactly. He might have. He seriously might have. Now we talk every day, and we're basically best friends. I was just with him yesterday. But a lot of the success was chips on my shoulders, whether it was signing the contract with my dad and having no choice but to go back to college. And that was one thing I did not want to do for 4 years. I'd still be in it today. So I would only be like 2 years in. I'd have halfway done. That was chip on my shoulder. My boss telling me those kind of things. Also, I was in my own apartment, or I was in an apartment. I had moved out at 18 years old. And my rent was $1,600 a month, and I was living with somebody else. So we were each paying $800 a month each. And that had ended up going south. It was my best friend at the time, and he was kind of sneaking around, hiding things behind my back, and we ended up getting into a fight. He didn't pay rent the next month, which made it even worse. He didn't pay rent the next month after that, which made it even worse.
There's a lesson in there about getting into roommate situations with friends and all that. Absolutely. So you learned a lot of the hard lessons real quick.
I did, dude. It was like this, all right after each other. So again, after that happened, I kicked him out. I said, all right, well, now I got $1,600 a month. No question about it. I have to pay that. I got this contract with my dad. I got people that don't believe in me. I got, no one on my side. So I just went to work every day. It sounds cliche, but I just woke up at 10 a.m. I woke up at 7 a.m. I got prepared for my day. I went to the gym, whatever the 9 yards was. And then by 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. I was knocking on doors the entire time, like nonstop, just knocking on doors, learning solar, whatever had to be done, driving to Albany, driving to Goshen, drive wherever, hour and a half away, wherever it needed to go. I was learning the product, I was learning how to sell, and I just went to work every day. And there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
So was there anything beyond just like the number of doors that you were knocking on? Was there any secret to success beyond just the hard hustle there?
To be honest, in this business, it's weird. You would think so, but there really is no trick to knocking on doors selling solar. It's a full volume business. Now I'm a sales trainer. A sales team leader for our company. So the new guys that come on, I have to show them how to knock doors and stuff. And, obviously the more product knowledge and the better you get, obviously you're going to start to convert a little bit better. But there's no secret. You go to the door, you say, hey, listen, my name's blah, blah, blah. I'm selling solar in the area. I'm just looking for a couple people who are curious about how this thing works. And if you do that on 100 doors, you are guaranteed to set 20 appointments and guaranteed to get 5 out of those 20 appointments. That's just how the game works. Maybe when you get a little better, you set 30 and close 10, but still you can, from day one, not knowing a thing, go out there and just say, hey, are you curious about solar, and find 2 people a day,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And obviously the commission is right, it made it worthwhile, and that's finding the right mix in the place that you're going. So that's really cool. So now you're making a little bit of money, paying the rent and making things work. And talk to us about, now that this next step, you've taken on this regional partnership. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I just want to make the point about the money real quick. I went from my 2018 entire year salary I made in the first 2 months of solar. So it was like just absolutely insane to me. I'd never seen anything like it. But anyway, Master Networks regional partner. I had actually been introduced with the guy who introduced me to ACN, the MLM company. Mm-hmm. We were still really, really good friends. So I don't have anything against MLMs. They're just not as easy as it seems. That's all. They make it very, very, very popular and very pretty looking, and they're usually not. So anyway, we stayed good friends for a long time. He was an older gentleman, and he kind of mentored me, and he had a lot of experience in business. So we stayed friends for a while. He called me over one day and said, hey, listen, I want to show you something. Ended up going to his house. He showed me Master Networks and Tina Campbell, which you just had on here the other day, 2 days ago, I think. She's amazing at Master Networks, amazing at what she does. And I heard her story. She started networking when there was not a single person in the networking group in the entire Northeast. So she would go around and say, hey, listen, who's in the networking group? Just me. That's all. But do you want to join? So she's amazing.
Talking about knocking on doors and,
right.
The strength to kind of build something is pretty amazing story. Yeah. Is it Abby Gabor that was ACN, or is that somebody else?
Abby Gabor. Yep. He's ACN.
Yep,
okay. He's awesome. He's one of the top guys. He's really, really, really good at ACN. But he showed me, the guy, Michael, had showed me Master Networks. And I said, okay, let's go take a look at it. Let's go to a meeting. We ended up going down to a meeting in Connecticut with Tina. And she showed us around a little bit. We went to maybe another 1 or 2. And meanwhile, I've never been to a networking meeting before. I've never heard of any other networking meeting. I didn't know anything about it. And we went to one. And within 2 weeks after going to the first meeting, we had purchased the entire region. So that hit the ground again very fast. And I have a saying, it's called experience is overrated, which means, listen, you don't have enough time to experience all the things you want, or, you know, or build up all the expertise and knowledge and know-how to get something done. Just jump in, and you usually can figure it out later. And if not, then it wasn't meant to be. So I jumped in with Michael 2 weeks in after purchasing it. There was a breakout in the partnership, and Michael had left Master Networks. He didn't want to be part of Master Networks anymore. So talk about hitting the ground running. Now I was left all alone to run the entire region. So obviously right now it's a little tricky with COVID-19 and everything. But when I first got started, again, I was still learning everything about Master Networks. I had flown down to Texas 2 times because that's where our headquarters is, to, you know, learn how to be a regional partner, learn how to run the region, learn how to do X, Y, and Z, the whole 9 yards. So, you know, within 2 weeks, I was not knowing not being a regional partner, finding out about Master Networks, becoming a regional partner with another partner, and then not having a partner, and then being it all on my own within 2 weeks. So it was a quick upbringing into Master Networks.
That's wild. Yeah, I think I was on the phone with Elizabeth Carnegie the other day. Your name came up.
Yeah.
We were talking about you. So let me just
awesome.
one thing about Master Networks here, because I don't want this to be a big commercial for Master Networks, but I've gotten a lot of value. I joined in December. My local chapters, Bill, Pasqua, Palumbo invited me in, and it's been huge because, you know, during this pandemic, it's allowed me to have a lot to pivot to in a lot of different avenues, and it's going to change the way I do business. And I really feel like, you know, I've been fortunate. 2008, 2009, I had MPI, which is Meeting Professionals International. I was talking to you about the other day because there's a lot of Connecticut contacts there, but they really got me through. And now Master Networks has provided me something that I brought back to MPI to be able to kind of pay it forward from the help they provided me before. So it's been a great organization that way. So talk, what's your strategy for growing your region?
You know, I've tried a couple things and they haven't worked out as well as I thought. So to be honest, when I had originally started, I thought this was going to be a little bit easier to grow than what I had first imagined. You know, using Eventbrite and Meetup and social media, Facebook, all that, the whole social media gig didn't really work out well at all. Not nearly as good as I thought it would. So
if there's folks that are watching, which we do have a few people watching, hopefully they'll comment, question, but I'd love to see if there's some folks that can offer you some advice and some words of encouragement. I know from my part, you know, I think when you're building something, it's about the value that you're bringing. One of the things that I'm definitely learning from Tina is that the amount of care she shows to each person, and I'm in the events side, and right now dreaming up events for people to come to, and my whole thinking around events, because there was a day where you went and you watched somebody like a Gary V. You know, Gary V is sort of exceptional in the sense that, like, even if you brought him in just to speak and not take questions, he's gonna take questions and make it participatory anyways. But there was a day where you would have a person like that would come in and have that kind of speak, you know, going on, and then that would be it. And people would be happy with that. Oh, that was a great thing. And then there's networking in the hallway. All good. Now we have this thing called YouTube. And now I can see Gary B 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And I can see his spiel, you know, as much as I want to. And there's a lot of organizations that still don't understand, like, if I can see something better on YouTube, why am I going to the event? Why am I paying? Why, you know, that sort of thing. And one of the great things about Master Network is the participation in the meetings. Right. So one of the things that I think you can do is just focus on each person, build one and the rest will come, right? So you just one person at a time, one foot in the other. I know there's some strategies that hopefully folks will reach out to you with to sort of, you know, bring in those leads and get that pool in there for you to get that one and, you know, build on it. But I think just providing a super amount of value, because you build one crazy fan that loves you, they're going to bring a few more people with them.
Of course, right? Exponential. Just go straight up once you get some traction there.
I
So
mean,
yeah, I mean,
it's the same thing with the sales with the solar. Once somebody had a great experience, there was a lot of word of mouth that grew.
that's exactly what I work on. You know, I'm trying to build my referral business as best as possible because, you know, it's essentially almost a free lead almost every time. Because if someone is interested enough in solar, the product is so great that it almost always sells itself. So as long as someone comes to me and there's a referral for it, it's usually a home run. But Master Network. So, you know, what I've found is exactly what you said. You have to be a lot more personal connection, a lot more relationship, a lot more wanting to help them and not yourself. And you know, my biggest problem was I lived in New York my entire life. I still don't live in Connecticut. So I didn't know a single person in any part of Connecticut. And that's what I figured to be much harder than I thought. I thought I can go in there and kind of quickly, okay, let's make a relationship and, you know, go on from there. It's watering the seed every day. It takes a lot more time than you think to build those relationships, get that person's trust, get them to want the networking group because they're already in two other ones that they think, oh, this one's no different, you know. So
Right.
It's a lot of watering the seed and making it grow every day. There's no days off when it comes to something like this.
Well, this is a great time because now you can connect people to so many places, and everybody's got to do.
Oh my God, yeah.
So, you know, that's a wonderful opportunity to get people involved and in the door. And I know, you know, on the networking and the association side, you know, it's the relationship, right? And relationships take patience. And you know, you're just starting on this. That you know, and Gary Vee talks about it all the time. We've been talking about him. Patience. Just patience, you know, it's going to grow. It's a great organization. You're going to do well with it. Tell us what else you got going on, man. I know you don't seem the type that only has one or two things on the stove. So what else? What's the plans for the future? What's the long-term plan?
Yeah. So, you know, I try to never spread myself too thin because I've done that before. So I focus on my big three right now, which is Plug PV, Master Networks, and then fitness. I'm very into anything, frisbee, golf, soccer, football, baseball, basketball, weights, track, whatever it is. I work out twice a day. That's my serious pat or hobby, I should say. But you know, long term, a lot of the reason I bought Master Networks was because I was knocking down doors for solar, and I figured Master Networks can also help me get more leads, and it'll give me another avenue of kind of learning how to run a business without having to have a business and all this money up front and build the whole brand itself. You know, it was already kind of built. So one, I got solar to learn how to sell because I think that's one of the most important things in life. And then one of the other things is to lead people and learn how to lead. And that's why I bought Master Networks, was because one was selling, one was leads, and they're both kind of work together, and they both kind of are sales and leading people at the same time. But anyway, you know, long term, I think solar in the next 5 to 10 years, it might even be shorter because of everything that's going on now. New York's talking about getting rid of a lot of the tax incentives because they're giving out so much money to COVID-19 relief. But anyway, in the next 5 to 10 years, solar is probably going to be either so government subsidized that you're not going to be able to make any money, or I won't be able to make any money anymore because it's just going to be given away, or it's just going to be the government's new power plant and they won't need to sell it anymore. They'll just, you know, turn the power plant into a solar field instead of having transmissions and generators and, you know, coal mines, all that kind of stuff, or nuclear power plants, whatever it is. So 5 to 10 years, I'm going to have to switch past. And, you know, my favorite thing that I've always been interested in is real estate. So that's long term is always real estate for me, investing, flipping, wholesaling, whatever it is. I just love real estate in general.
Yeah.
What's up, Mark?
Mark's a great guy that, you know, he's got a few things on the burner. He's got the clothing going on. He's the IT guy. He's the Mac consultant. He's
about a guy with a lot of things going on.
Yeah, man. Mark, man, if you got some questions for Zachary or me, definitely put them up there. We'd love to answer them and talk about them. In terms of long-term plans, and I think the fitness conversation is a great one. I'm watching all these people doing time, and you know, if you spend a lot of time on fitness, you're a good-looking guy.
Thank you.
You ever thought about like doing your own fitness channel and using that time to Mark says, don't forget the web. He does the websites as well.
Web design. That's his specialty, I think, right now.
Yeah. So you're doing the fitness thing. Have you given some thought to like, putting up a channel, selling some products? I don't know if you follow, what is his name? Herrera on Instagram. He's doing crazy amount of business, selling products around physical fitness. Chris Herrera, yeah. I'll throw it up so you can see it. If you want to see somebody that's killing it in the fitness space, this guy Mark Herrera, I'll look up the Instagram. But have you thought about doing anything on that? Hey, Mark.
Yeah, so what's up, Mark? So a couple things I want to two Marks are watching. Nice.
That's right.
Two things I want to share on the fitness part. One is the first thing I'm doing right now. So I don't know if you've ever heard of a gentleman named Andy Frisella. He is the CEO of First Form. So he owns a large company, does $350 million in supplement sales, and he's an awesome dude. I learned a lot from him. I listened to his podcast called MFCEO, that mother effing CEO. He's an awesome dude. But anyway, he's doing something called the Live Hard program right now, and it's a 75 hard program. So it's one workout inside, one workout outside, 45 minutes each a day. So it's an hour and a half of working out. One has to be in, one has to be outside. No cheat meals, no alcohol, 10 pages of a book every single day, 1 gallon of water, and a progress picture every day. And if you screw up, you got to go all the way back to day 1. So I just want to share that because I'm on day 14. And let me tell you, it's probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, talk about discipline. Talk about discipline. That's crazy.
That's the whole reason he starts it. It's not really for your body. It's for your mind to be able to do that for 75 days straight and not screw up. And if you do, you got to go back to day 1. So anyway, that's what I'm trying out today for my fitness. But, I think the fitness industry is one very, very, very saturated industry. And a lot of the people in that industry are just kind of not show-offs, but they're just going through the motions. They really don't know the science behind X, Y, and Z, and the full blown doing it. They're just doing it to make $1, and just because they have the good body and they look very good, they can sell product.
I love how you said just because they have a good body. So there's a lot of us out here that are looking for that good body. So I wouldn't discount. Talking about the healthcare industry, that's posed to just be. I mean, if you think there's a lot of money in it right now, I mean, everything with COVID and all that kind of stuff, it's just going to increase. I mean, we have more people than ever before that are obese. So I don't think there's any limit, and I don't think it takes too much, especially if you're understanding the web and the SEO side. And what I see with so many of the physical fitness folks is, they might be able to do some exercise, but they're not savvy on the web. And I wish I could find this guy, Chris Herrera. If somebody is in the comments and can find it and throw it up into the comments, I'll put it up on the screen. It's on my Instagram on my phone, and I don't want to go hunting around there. But he just does a great job. And I was talking to another fitness guy, and I would say the guy that I was working with that was trying to earn my business, he could learn a few things, and I think, he was quick to put this guy down on social media, but you don't become president by being shy. You don't become right. So it's, there's gotta be something sort of wrong with you if you're running for president, right? You gotta be like, want all that attention. Seriously, right? Seriously. And there's nothing wrong with all of us, right? It's crazy. Healthcare and fitness merger, right? So Mark is talking to it, listen, it's all coming together. Everything and fitness is a big part of health. There's no limit to it, right? I mean, I see people doing smoothies, there's products to sell. It's an industry that if you got money to invest in, I definitely recommend it. Be smart about it. I just put up a post this morning about stocks. So my stocks, for people that are worried about getting into the stock market, and I don't know if you use a platform called Robinhood app. Yeah. So it's great. Yeah, great app. No cost for stock transactions. So one of the things that sort of held me back years ago from getting into the stock market was just to get in to do an initial buy into any stock. You'd have to be with a stockbroker and you'd have to pay fees on those transactions. And especially if you're only buying one stock or two stocks, that can be daunting. And then if you're, I want to buy a stock of Amazon right now, that's $2,300. And then if you're paying a commission on top of that, that's crazy. But you go onto Robinhood, you can purchase stocks. So I had started building up stocks the end of 2018, and so I got a little bit of money in there, less than 10,000, and it had definitely taken like a $2,000 dip as we were coming into this pandemic. It's all the way back up. I'm sure there's folks that, are still losing money because of where they were. I'm trying to invest in companies that, forward thinking, Tesla, AgroFresh is losing money, but
you could see this on my phone. It's Robinhood account. Tesla's up 5%, 819.05 today.
And listen, you got to be smart about it in the market. Just little over a month ago, it like shot up to $900. And listen, I sold there then and, took it out of the market and buy, but I know that my feeling is it's going to go up. I'm going to leave it in the market. It's tough to time the market. So if you're making an investment, you stay in there 5-10 years, again, patience, right? Diversify and patience. But the point here that I'm trying to make with this is that, investing in something, whether it's master networks, if you believe and you've vetted it, you talk to some smart people, you got, a committee of folks that are with you, you've done your homework, making investments like that are time-based and smart-based are really important and things that change people's lives. And especially for young folks, I'm teaching my daughter who's 13 to save 50% of her income. And you'll probably relate to this. So as you got, out of the house and everything, if you're learning to live on half of the income you're bringing in, you get pretty smart with your money. And then having that savings account that's nice and big when you want to make that investment, getting a loan is a lot easier. I try not to, right now use cash, right? Because you want cash is king. So, you use your capital to create the ability to invest.
Yeah. I've always been a little weird with my savings. I've never, ever, ever had a problem with saving. I've always been able to save money so easily. Like I just don't spend money on things. I just never have. And I've always been very smart with money. So I do a lot of investing. Like you just said about the stock market. I waited till it went down. I bought Tesla at $380 a share. I bought Norwegian Cruise Line at $7 a share. It was at 62 2 months ago. I just put like $10,000 into the stock market like 3 weeks ago because everything was so cheap. So,
and I gotta tell you, Zach, I wish I had $10,000 to do the same thing. So I think people got to learn from you. Obviously, if somebody's looking. At this, and they're like, my background, I don't, come from, money. We never had savings. I don't know if I'll ever have savings. This idea of, budgeting, making sure that you're smart with the dollar that you have. So if you have $1 and you save 50% of it, and this is my true belief. If you have $1 and you save 50 cents, you have something. If you have $1 and you just put it in your wallet. I don't care if you spent it yet, but if you put it in your wallet and it's on the docket to spend, you have no money right now. Right?
Correct. Yeah.
If I put 50 cents in a savings account that's earning interest, right? Now I'm saving money. And it starts with 50 cents, right? It starts with a penny. A penny saved is a penny earned. I think Benjamin Franklin said that. Somebody, right? It's so true. And I didn't learn it until, my late 30s, and it's such a big deal, and it's so important. So whatever your means are, whatever your stuff is, Luann says you're a prodigy. Oh my God, and I agree. I wish I was where you at 21 when I was 21. Whew, crazy.
Yeah, me and Luann, I just saw your email too. Before we'll do a Facebook Live as well. She just had emailed me the other day or this morning about a Facebook Live. So Luann will do one as well. But real quick, I agree with that rule a lot. The one little change I do to it is what I try to do is live on 40% of my income. And again, this is just personal preference. This is just how I've, come about it. I try to live on 40% of my income. So I keep all my expenses below 40%. 20% goes into savings / investing, and the other 20% goes to taxes because I filed a 1099, unfortunately. So I got to give a lot of my money away. But I try to live on a 40% of my income. 20% is savings / investing, 20% is taxes, and the other 20% that's left over goes into a savings account that is untouchable. Like something that I don't even know is there. You know what I'm saying? The other 20 savings / investing is stuff that's saved to spend. There's I'm saving it to buy into a Roth IRA, to buy into stock, to buy into a business venture, something like that. And then I take specifically 20% and I don't touch it. I don't see it. That's it. I'll never touch it again. So
let me ask you a question. Do you have any children?
No, never.
Do you have a girlfriend? Are you married?
I do have a girlfriend. Yes.
All right. So, for a lot of us that are watching right now, myself included, it's just like, man, to be 21, to be somewhat single, you're not married yet, right? So you're not in that thing, without kids, and to be doing the things that you're doing, I know the next 60, 80 years look really good for you. I mean, this is amazing stuff. I think people are going to want to stay tuned to the story. I know I asked the question before, but I think maybe I want to dig a little bit deeper into what's the long-term plan? Are you do you have a plan to change the world? What's the long-term goal?
Plan to change the world. That's a deep one. I believe one person can change the world. I believe that there's, listen, I try to take things on the day by day. I've always been a spontaneous person. Like, I'll tell you, for my birthday, when I turned 21, I called my girlfriend up 3 weeks before and I said, hey, listen, I just bought a trip to Aruba. We're going to Aruba on my 21st. Like, I don't plan things. It just happens. I'm very spontaneous. That's just how I've always been. So
depending on the woman you're with, that's either annoying or romantic, depending on where they're at with it, right?
It's usually both, depending on the day, depending on how she's feeling. I know I'm a handful to date, so that's
if you're paying for it, I imagine the annoyance is not so bad.
Yeah, exactly. So long term, it's hard for me to think, but it's gonna be something where it's something that's gonna be sales / leadership, maybe a company I own, maybe XYZ. I don't really know, but I find the and again, I get this from Gary Vee. I find the fun and the passion and the excitement in the grind. Starting from zero and making it to 100 million. Once you get to 100 million, yes, you have the success and you have the fun, the Lamborghinis, whatever you want to call it. I've never been there, so I shouldn't say this yet. But the fun part is building it up. The fun part is the day in, day out, sleeping on the couch, being up till 3 a.m., blah, 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 hanging out with your buddy and trying to get stuff done. Like, I find that fun. I have that weird kind of, like I said, DNA where I enjoy work so much. When I go out and knock doors, it's like a hunt on who I'm going to find next. Like, all right, they just said no. All right, we got to be closer to, the next one. It's always a game for me. I make everything into some kind of a game. So long term, I guess what I want to do is, if I had to pick one answer, it's change the education system, because I hate the way we're taught and I hate the way colleges are framed. I hate the way the classroom is framed and the way we're taught, and that kind of.
We have that in common. So I struggled because my father was great. He was a single father. He didn't really push me. So I've been involved with the nonprofit that I've been involved with for the last 24 years because I'm really passionate about making sure that high school students have all the options laid out for them, whether it's college or something else, understanding how to interview, how to get into a career track, how to get education for themselves when college isn't the answer. And if college is the answer, making sure they're into college. Because I know part of your story, you were saying you got into college and, the people are walking around with their earbuds and not paying attention to anything. that sounds like the typical community college where people really aren't jazzed to be there. They didn't fight for their seat. It's not a competitive place. And, you probably needed to be more in a Harvard, Wharton School of Business environment. But not everybody has the knowledge, grades, assistance, guidance to get there. And that's something that I want to change so that, folks, is college the right thing for you? Is a vocational kind of thing the right thing for you? Where are you getting that guidance? I picked my college walking behind the girl in the red leather pants. I do not suggest picking your college based on that. It didn't work out well for me. There wasn't a lot of information in my life guiding me to the right decisions and putting me in the right place. And person that's 16, 17, 18 years old, they need that. They need the college workshops where you go to the schools and actually see what they have to offer, so you have a basis for comparison. We wouldn't buy into a franchise without looking at, okay, you want to sell me McDonald's? Let me look at what McDonald's is offering. Let me see what Burger King is offering. Let me compare the deals. You wouldn't do that, right? You wouldn't just go blindly into, or you shouldn't do that blindly, right? So that's something that I want to bring to high school students. So we can definitely work there on that together. Talk to me about, you have such a great mindset with your hustle. You enjoy it so much. Where do you think that comes from? I know you said your father was into business. Did it come from your father? What inspires you? What drives you? What kind of took you to this point?
My dad's been a car salesman for 22 years, so he's been selling for his entire life. My uncle owns
shout out his dealership. I'm sure they'll appreciate that.
Shout out Hudson Cadillac Buick GMC. I had a Cadillac for plenty of years in my life. I actually just got a Tesla, but I had the Cadillac forever, so love Cadillacs. But me and him have talked about it before. I don't know where the hell it came from. Like, he was like, dude, listen, one day I just saw you and like you were reading a book on the couch at 17 years old. And I was like, who are you? Like, you just came back from partying with 80 people and, doing a bunch of stupid stuff. And now you're reading a book. Like, what just happened to you? So to be God honest with you, I don't know where the drive came from. It just snapped in me one day. And I was like, listen, I just don't want to be a normal, everyday kind of walk through life and not get the most out of it. And it just clicked in me one day. And since I was 17, 18 years old, that's all I've been doing is just hustling as much as I can. I wish I had an answer. No.
So did you, obviously you knew what your father was doing. Did he bring you to work? Did you guys talk about what he was doing and that sort of thing?
I mean, I worked at Hudson Cadillac when I was 17 as well. When I was in high school still, I used to drive their cars. I used to be the lot boy. But that really didn't have anything to do with it. I was happy because I got to drive 2017, 2018 Cadillacs back then that were, $80,000 cars, and I was driving a $4,000 Mazda. So that was really
I guarantee you, Zachary, that had something to do with it.
I was gonna say that might have had something to do with it. Holy, this car is touchscreen and it's got all these gadgets. So that might have had something to do with it. That made me like money. But I mean, maybe my dad's always had a really strong work ethic, and I think that was just part of my DNA. He's always been, when I was first when my mom and him first were having, not me, but my older sister, they weren't making a lot of money. They were not strong on bills, and my dad was working 3 jobs, every day, and towing cars, selling cars, being a mechanic, like whatever it had to be done, he was doing it. So again, I think it was just part of my DNA. I don't think it was necessarily so much seeing anyone else. It was more just in me, and then it just clicked one day, and that was it. And then I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, I don't think you can undervalue having positive role models in your life. Whether it's Master Networks or any other organization, you'll have people tell you time and time again, you are who your, people around you, your network are. So if you got hard working around you, chances are you're going to be hard work. You got a lot of lazy folks around you and got a lazy mentality around you. Guess what you're speaking of circle, like, are there any kind of business folks that you're working with right now that you want to shout out and give some attention to?
Yeah, probably my best friend for the last couple of years of my life. His name is Ibrahim. He's a big Forex trader. So shout out to Ibrahim. We talk on a daily basis, probably 2 or 3 times a day. We share business ideas off each other and talk about whatever needs to be talked about. Tina, I always love to talk about Tina. She helped me out so much. I'm sure you've heard me say it before, but I talk all about it. I'm like her long lost stepson because she could be my mom. So she's helped me out tremendously in Master Networks. Jay Ortiz, also the New York City regional partner of Master Networks, has helped me out tremendously.
I haven't had too many conversations with Jay yet, so I gotta reach out to him.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's another workhorse. Guy's up at 4 a.m. every day for his workout, and then all day long he's on high octane, man, motored all day long. I don't know how he does it. I thought I worked hard until I met him.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are looking at you like, how do you do it? So you're
not. And then just thanks to everyone for support and either being part of anyone in Master Networks, anyone who's ever helped me out in any way, shape, or form. I try to be as open and as helping as possible. And I think one of the things that you had mentioned that you wanted to talk about in the email was, how do you bring value to people? And my Ibrahim's watching me right there.
There he is.
Fun. That's awesome.
That's how you know he's ride or die. He's
there you go.
Checking it out.
My man. So, bringing value to people, which is one thing I think you want to talk about, was, first, the products I sell are number one. You need to be sold on your product before you can go sell the product. Like, I wouldn't sell solar if I didn't believe it did something for people and it helped the environment, the whole 9 yards. So I think every day.
That's an awesome message. Yeah, I think that's a big deal. Yeah.
Every day what I do brings value because I believe in my product. So when I sell to someone, I'm bringing value to them. Like it's almost gotten to the point where when they tell me no, they don't want to go solar, I'm like, what'd you just say? Like, are you serious? It's gotten to that point because I believe in it so much.
Do you know how important this is?
I'm like, are you nuts? Like, what? So, and then, same for Master Networks. I believe it took me some time to learn it, but now that I've learned it so much and I see what it's done for people, I believe in Master Networks. And compared to any other, networking organization, I don't think they come close because I believe in my product. So I bring value every day just by getting people signed up in Master Networks. Like I've come to those points to where my value is just simply the things I do and the things I sell are so valuable in itself that even if I don't, do podcasts or Instagram posts and talk to one-on-one and all that, of course, that's bringing massive value. But I think your day job should bring value to people, as in you should believe in it and you should think that it values people just by the product it is.
I'd been doing, face-to-face meetings once in a while with folks, definitely scheduled things with, folks from my association. I'm a member of a number of associations, MPI, Meeting Professionals International, EPIC, Event Professionals in Connecticut, ALIA, International Live Events Association. But until I got to Master Networks, this idea of doing the face-to-face and being so open to it and the focus on listening there, I'm sure other people had gotten there with it in other organizations, but I hadn't really gotten there until this time. Maybe I wasn't ready for it before, but I think there's something to be said for the Master Networks brand of doing things that people are really open to it. And I've just had these wonderful, amazing conversations with people that I wouldn't necessarily schedule something with, right? Because they're in a different industry. The cost of their product is too high. They're not somebody that, I'm looking to meet with, but just being open to it and having these conversations, it's led down some fabulous roads and created some amazing opportunities.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I just love connecting with people. I love people in general. So you hit the nail right on the head. You get to connect with these people that you probably would never buy from. They'll never buy anything from you. You'll never have any kind of business relationship into where, you're doing business together, but you connect with them. You got to know who they were and you got to meet them. And I find I'm so curious about, just people and how they work. And I don't know if you've ever heard of a gentleman, Patrick Bet David. Jazz just interviewed him a couple weeks ago.
Yes,
but,
yeah. He does interviews himself. Yeah.
Yeah, valuetainment. But he's one guy I follow so much because you could tell when he talks to people, he's so curious about people. He's so curious about people and how they work and how they're wired and everything like that. And I've been watching him for years, and I've become the same way. Like I just want to know how you work and what business you're in and what you've done and how you came from and who your childhood, who you were in high school. Like it's just I'm curious about how people work.
I haven't watched too much of Patrick's stuff. I think my first exposure to him was the interview with Chaz a couple of weeks ago. How am I doing? Would you give me any pointers on the interview process here?
Oh, dude, but much better than me. So I'm still not good at it. But you have a fantastic setup. It looks very, very professional. Thank you. You gave me a great intro, and you do a really good job at getting it all together and sharing it on Facebook and getting comments, questions, the whole 9 yards.
I saw you do something the other day, and the only feedback I have, because it was a good conversation, I was listening to it while I was doing something else. You were talking to David Hauser, I believe.
Yep.
The only comment I have, you got to just get your audio game just step up. Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I didn't realize it until after the damn meeting. I'm like, dude, I was like muffled the whole time.
Well, Chaz will put on the headphones. I've had a negative experience with the headphones. I listened to the audio, and I think it's just experimentation, right? So I did it one way, and I changed it up. One of the reasons I got this mic here, my audio from my computer was just fine. It's not that much different from it, but I saw somebody that had the mic set up. Actually, Jason Reyes, who's a fitness coach, had a beautiful mic setup. I was like, I want that.
I actually have a mic sitting right over there.
More for the look than anything else. I don't know that it adds that much to the sound.
Right? You just look professional. You got the chair behind you. You got everything set up, and you got a mic. You look good. And you got your suit and tie matching the logo color. So
that was Rob Genovese. Have you connected with Rob Genovese yet?
Yes, a little bit. We've talked a few times, never a full-blown face-to-face, but yes.
You got to give him some money and hook you up with the branding advice. I paid him, and so he told me, I have the whole nother set of colors on my website. He told me you got to go with the pink, black, and gray. Changed up all the event planners that I work with, the ideal folks that I want to be working with. They love it. They love it. So that just the color piece alone was worth the whole deal. Having somebody, looking in on your business, doing a little research and getting stuff. I'll probably rename my Toth event staffing company, which I've had for 8.5 years based on his work. It's a big deal.
Wow. Yeah, he's awesome. I've seen a couple of his we've had him for keynotes a lot in New York. Tina has him a bunch of all over the place. So I've been to just about everyone, and he's powerful. He knows what he's talking about to a T.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Definitely brings a lot of value. All right, anything you want to say in closing before we sign off here?
Yeah, so I guess I'll leave with a couple things I wanted to say. Number one thing is, and this is something I've always believed in, is no matter what, we're all salesmen. So if you're going to say, you're not a salesman and you can never do that, or you can never do anything like whatever that I was doing, totally 100% not true. Whether you're trying to pick up girls at the bar or you're trying to play quarterback for a team and you got to sell the coach on you being quarterback, whatever it is, you want the promotion, you're always selling, So you're a full-blown salesman, and that's something that I think everyone needs to work on more and try to become the best salesman they can, because it'll help tremendously. And then the second thing, which is something that I kind of just wrote down because it's something that people don't talk about a lot. Self-confidence. So I think that confidence is a really big key to where I've gotten and what I can do now. It takes a lot of guts to go up on somebody's door and knock on their door and try to get them to buy a 20-year contract. So self-confidence is something that is massive, and I think people need to work on that. And I simply believe what self-confidence is the promises you make, you keep them to yourself. So if you say you're going to get up at 8 a.m. and you get up at 8 a.m., that's going to boost your self-confidence for that day right in the morning. And then, the whole 9 yards of whatever you want to talk about. Eating the right diet or going to the gym or, getting the sale, all that kind of stuff. It builds your self-confidence block by block. And again, I think being a salesman and being confident about yourself, those are my two big keys for how I am today.
I love that. You see it so often when people apologize all over themselves and do all these kind of self-cutting statements. That takes away from your platform. It takes away from what you do. Don't do it. Own what you're doing. Enjoy it. Your story is amazing. You have something of value to share. I'm looking forward to Zachary's book. I know it's on the way soon, right? I'm actually thinking about, I got to write my own book, but putting together an event where, part of the event is producing a book for every single person, because I think that would be an amazing value to everybody and something that people would sign up for and want to.
Holy smokes. Yeah, I'll be there.
All right. So that you heard it here, folks. I'm going to hold you to that. I'm going to throw the master networks here. So if you're in Connecticut and you're watching this, and I know we're going to share this with some Connecticut folks so that they can see the energy that you're bringing and the value that you want to bring to people, and you're in Connecticut and you want to join master networks and get in on the vibe, this is the perfect time. No income coming in, struggling to pivot. This is the perfect time, because virtually you can go not only anywhere in the region, so New York City, Westchester, Connecticut, but literally all over the country. So prime if you got a national business, something that's an online service, something like that. If you're a consultant, you're a coach, you're a tax attorney, you want to bring your firm to more areas. Virtual right now, you can touch so many people if you got your game together, and I'm certainly willing to help you. I know Zachary is going to be willing to help you get your game together so that you can advertise the right way and talk to people the right way and have that confidence to reach out and get into other people's lives. So join Master Networks. Give Zachary a hand here in terms of what he's doing in building the Connecticut region. Zachary, thank you so much for being with me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. No, thank you so much for having me on. Like I told you, it was my first one ever after me being interviewed and not doing the interviewing. So it was awesome. It feels weird to talk about myself so much because I'm usually asking other people so many questions. So thanks again, man. And I appreciate connection with you. Thank you for having me on here. Well, and thanks for everyone for stopping by.
Invite me to interview. I'm there.
Awesome, man. Thanks, everyone, for watching, commenting, stopping by, and checking us out.
Thank you, everybody. This has been Biz D with the C. You got Zachary Dingee. Let's get it. Have a great day, and lots of success to everybody that's watching. Thank you very much.